Hello and welcome. Today I'm showing how to make my famous pastries with pudding and fresh fruit. It's a wonderful recipe. If you have a leftover fruit and you're not sure what to do with it, just make some pastries. They're fresh and beautiful and homemade, and they're just so satisfying to even look at. So let's start. We have to start with fresh yeast. That's number one. Fresh yeast and a cup of milk. When it comes to yeast, we need 50 grams of fresh yeast, not frozen. We need 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of all-purpose flour. And as you guys know, I use organic when you can. Keep in mind, yeast cannot be hot; it needs to be warm. Otherwise, if it's hot, you cannot kill the yeast, and we don't want to do that. So we're gonna combine all the ingredients together, and when done, just basically put it aside for about 20 minutes. Perfect. And shout out to my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. This is a kitchen towel they got me, and I use it a lot. Thank you so much. Now we're gonna need a stick of butter, and again, I'm using organic butter. And we need 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm using brown sugar melted with your milk. So all ingredients melted together. Okay, so now I have to sift 500 grams of all-purpose flour, and again, it's organic all-purpose flour. And I must say, I love this process. It's very relaxing, a little bit messy if you don't pay attention, but I like it. It's part of the fun. So now the flour is done, and we will combine our wet ingredients into our flour. This is actually my favorite process as well, combining all ingredients together. It's super relaxing and very satisfying. Okay, now it's time to add our yeast. It grew beautifully. This is how yeast is supposed to look like, nice and fluffy, and it's just so healthy looking. So we're gonna combine that, and it smells so good. We need 3 yolks. I'm using again organic eggs from my trusted Whole Foods, and stir all the ingredients together. We're gonna combine all of it together, and I'm using my trusted mixer. As you guys know, my red trusted mixer. It's my little assistant in the kitchen. So we're gonna do that for about 10 minutes. Let's do it for about 10 minutes. And again, it's such a relaxing process. And when you're using a mixer, meanwhile, you can spare your time on something else. You can clean up, or in our case, we'll make a crumble. But first, we have to take our beautiful, beautiful dough, cover it with a kitchen towel, and set aside for about 45 minutes. Just let it be. And now it's time for our crumble. It's an easy recipe. We need 25 grams of butter and 25 grams of sugar. I'm using organic sugar and organic butter as well. Also, we need flour. We need 50 grams of flour. And if your butter is not soft, just cut it. Be easier. Cut it in little pieces, or you can just soften it up with your fingers. So use what we have. I like to use my fingers a lot. Easy, no pressure. Let's clean up later on. So we're gonna make a crumble. It's easy. Everyone knows how to make it. This is how I make it. And I'm always using brown sugar. It makes a difference. So take your little foil, form a little ball, just like that, and put it in the freezer. Put in pastries like cold. So I put it in the freezer. Now on your flat surface or a special little mat, take your dough, and it grew in size as you see and smells wonderful and looks very healthy. It's a beautiful color. Put some flour on your surface if you must, if it needs it, if it's too sticky to work with, and just basically put your dough right on top. We're gonna work on it. Okay, so just again use your flour if you need it. Don't overdo it, but you need some flour if it's too sticky. Oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful, beautiful dough. It's so soft. It just works with you beautifully. And when forming, make sure that your dough is not too thick or not too thin. And again, use when it comes to a cookie cutter, just it's basically your judgment how many pastries you want or how big you want them. So you decide how big pastries need to look like. I'm usually using rim of my glass. I know most people have different shapes and sizes cookie cutters. I'm using a glass, but this this should produce from 12 to 22 pastries. Again, it all depends on the size of your cookie cutter. When using my trusted glass, I basically produce about 18 to 22 pastries. So you can make them small and tiny, like bite size, or you can make them big and colorful. So it depends on your preference. Okay, so now we have to create, using your fingers, little dent in the middle of our pastry, little circles, because we need that dent in order to provide our pastry with a cluster. So this is how it looks like. You can use other tool to create that dent. I'm using my fingers, the easiest way to do it. Just a little dent because we need some surface for cluster and fruit later on. So this is the perfect size for me personally. I think it's wonderful. But again, you can go bigger, you can go smaller. It depends on your imagination and your needs. And make sure to leave space in between because our little pastries will grow a little bit and they don't need to touch. So now I'm going to fill our pastries with cluster. So, and as you see, cluster thickened because we put it in the freezer. So we need that thickness. It's actually good for cluster as well. So just gently, just no pressure. It's not gonna be mess free, but it's very satisfying and creative process. Just put that cluster in your pastry. Also, guys, that one pastry will probably cost $3 to $4 in a store, and now you're making the entire batch of pastries in your own home for so little, and it's so satisfying, and that's kind of like one of those exercises that you can practice with your children or on your day off. So you really save money on if you want pastries, but you don't want to spend $30 on pastries. This is a way to go. Also, it's a wonderful way to use up your leftover fruit or use up excess fruit from your garden, or if you get fruit from somewhere and there's a lot and you don't want it to go to waste, you make pastries with fresh fruit. I like to use berries. You can also use peach. I would suggest to always use fresh fruit. This pastry, do not use canned fruit. It's not the same. It's just not the same, never the same. So use fresh. Now we have to do a little egg wash. So easy concept, just a little bit of egg with just a little bit of milk all together. This will glisten our pastry. This will basically give it this nice bronzy, golden, beautiful look, and they'll add some texture to it as well. So just all around with my trusted kitchen brush. If you don't have a brush, just use your fingers. Sometimes I don't want my pastry with the fruit, so I leave it. As you notice, I left some pastries without the fruit on top because sometimes I just want a dough and I just want a cluster. That's what I want. And again, get creative. It doesn't have to be fruit, it can be something else. But I feel like, especially in summertime, fruit is just abundance of fruit and you need to use it up. Okay, so now I'm putting crumble that we created and put in the freezer right on top of our pastry. Keep in mind when you take it off the freezer, out of the freezer, it's gonna be kind of rock solid. So you have to shred it or you have to kind of crumble it, and then you can use it to put on top. So just don't go crazy with it, but you need some texture, and this will add some flavor as well. Also, I like to use sliced almonds right on top. They smell so great. They look so great. They provide you with nice little texture and crunch. So utilize your almonds as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now we have to put our pastries in the oven. We're gonna do it at for 20 minutes at 356 degrees. And keep an eye on it, of course. Every oven is different, but this is how my oven operates. So just keep in mind that every oven might be different. We need a little icing. So you need 2 teaspoons of powdered sugar, and we need just a little bit of milk. If you don't want the milk, substitute with fresh lemon juice or fresh orange juice. and basically just combine it all together for that beautiful icing. If the icing is too thick, just add more liquid, and I'm talking about more lemon juice, more orange juice, or more milk. So it depends whatever floats your boat. So again, keep in mind that you have to keep an eye on your pastries, and the second I feel they're ready, they're ready. So they look so beautiful. Oh my gosh, they look store bought. They grew beautifully. The fruit is wonderful and it kept its texture, not falling apart. It's wonderful, wonderful presentation. And we going to put some icing right on top, just extra something. And I personally, when it comes to fruit, I like to freshen it up with some lemon juice. So fresh squeezed lemon juice is a way to go. And you can skip that process. If you don't feel like icing, just don't do it. This is definitely optional. Doesn't this look great? I usually eat like two, one or two with my coffee or my tea in the morning. It's a quick little snack. I have a sweet tooth, as you guys noticed, so this is the way to go for me. And again, if you went to the store and wanted to purchase, this will be easily a $4 purchase for one. And if you have people over or family over, whoever's over, and you want to wow them, just basically make the pastries, put it on a nice platter. It's all about visual presentation and present it this way. Very nice. And serve when still warm. They taste beautiful when cold as well. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I so appreciate every each one of you. Thank you again, and have a wonderful, wonderful Easter.